Yo, there's something beautiful about Bearcats basketball. High flying.
Kenyon with a jam.
Shot denying.
Miles rejected.
There's just an energy that comes with the Cats. A rich history built on toughness.
And Mick Cronin looks like he wants a technical.
A bring-your-own-lunch pail mentality. For a long time, UC was the hunted.
And I felt that we couldn't lose.
I think it's time the Bearcats do a little hunting of their own.
Once y'all done with them, send them to me, man. You know what I mean? We can put them on the court. Keep that Bearcat thing going.
I am fired up.
Takes it all the way. Oh! It's going to be Little.
I wonder how Steve Logan would be over in Afghanistan or somewhere. I bet he'd be pretty poised. He just does not get rattled.
Man, Exo, he'll cut it loose. Watch out. Stevenson cuts it about. Oh! Kilpatrick outruns everybody. Johnson, the exclamation point.
We've been dealt the king of heartbreak over and over again.
Rose here. Smith and...
Everything they worked for was undone on one play.
But I see the light. The Cats are back. Lukosius, open three, got it! Oh, baby! Welcome to the only live Bearcats postgame show on YouTube. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. What is going on? It's pretty interesting, everyone, because the theme heading into the 2023-2024 Cincinnati Bearcats basketball season was all about continuity. It was all about Wes Miller being fired up because everyone from a season ago that we thought was important returned to the mix. After a sour season like this one, we felt like they may just need to get out the TNT and blow it up, and apparently that is what is happening in Clifton. Next year, it's going to be no continuity. It will look completely different. As of right now, 6 scholarship members and JJ Rembert have entered the transfer portal. The newest news coming Tuesday. It's Dillon Mitchell, the headliner. He is heading to the transfer portal, says that based on the tweets I've seen, there's an opportunity to come back, reevaluate things, see what his market looks like. But he will enter the portal, as will Tyler Betsy, kind of the same thing. And then Arrington Page as well. But when you enter the portal, you just assume they're on their way out the door. We got a 4-man weave today. It's myself, Chuck Walter. It's Nick Niehaus. It's Houdini, Hudson Klauke, and Eric Lilly on the program today. If anyone has bad Wi-Fi, this has the potential to be a horrible stream. But we do come live to you on YouTube after the games when news breaks. And you can find us on your audio podcast as well. So let's start a little around the horn. They canceled the one on ESPN. No more Tony Reale. It's Chuck Walter running the ship. Bearcats version. Let's start with Houdini. Give me your overall takeaway on 3 Bearcats. One that was a very high recruit out of high school in Tyler Betsy, and we saw some flashes shooting the ball. Another that was a very high recruit out of high school and also a McDonald's All-American and a highly rated transfer in Dillon Mitchell. And the other one, a very highly rated high school. Do you catch my theme here, Houdini?
Yes, and Dillon Mitchell's the biggest factor leaving. I mean, what Arrington Page and Tyler Betsy at this point, we knew the writing was on the wall. I just don't think they were ready. If they develop into something, sure. Like right now, Wes doesn't have the time, and I know, Niehaus and Lily were mentioning yesterday, he just doesn't have the time to just sit there and develop these players. If Tyler Betsy wanted to come back, he's young enough. He was a highly rated recruit, but as we've said, some of these recruiting rankings are bullshit anyway. So we don't really know what we have in Tyler Betsy. He is a big body, allegedly could shoot the ball. Just didn't really find his way yet. And it's no knock on him. He's a freshman. He's, 18, 19 years old. He might figure it out elsewhere, but if we can get better and we can upgrade at some of these positions, we got to do it. Now, right now, we have Tyler McKinley and Halveen as our 2 bigs. So we got to upgrade that. We got to find some guys that are better than Arrington Page, but I think it makes sense to basically overhaul this whole damn thing. This was a disaster. at least we're seeing a lot of guys leave, because I think it needed to happen. Whatever your opinions are on some of these kids, they had to go.
The only downside would be is if they all popped this upcoming season, right? And the Bearcats were to get worse. They win 5 games in the Big 12. And then it's like, oh my, well, we threw everyone away and had to bring in a brand new team. But I think in this current situation, like you saw what they were last year altogether. And some of them just didn't seem like good fits. Some of them were not the right age to where, like Betsy, he could be really good as a senior in college, but how good is he going to be next year? And that's where I kind of see his talks with Wes Miller that he had about potentially returning. It's like him and Wes, it sounds like Wes and everyone have this sort of agreement. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lily, but I feel like the Dan one kind of went like, Dan, I love you. You were one of my first recruits here. But I both think we're better off, doing it differently next season. What do you say? You get a fresh start. Okay. With Paige, I feel like it was the same thing. You just don't fit into the mix right now. Sorry, this didn't work out. With Rayvon, it was telling him his role, and Rayvon just being like, I may want to look elsewhere. I don't want to be the 7th man off the bench. I think I have some talent. Then with Betsy, kind of, hey, heading into this next season, Betsy, you could work your way into a role, but I'm not going to, guarantee anything. We're bringing in players to basically take your position. But if you want to look elsewhere and someone else has a lot of faith to give you a pay raise, whatever it may be, you're welcome to do that. We have a scholarship waiting for you. We have quite a few scholarships if you want to head back. That was kind of their mutual agreement. And then, God, I'm getting confused with all these different names that have already entered the portal. But Dillon Mitchell, I think it was kind of that same thing where it's like, Dillon, you can go check out your market. We have a role for you here, but it's probably not 30 minutes a game like it was a season ago. Lily, am I wrong saying that?
Most of those are probably pretty close to what actually happened. Mitchell, I can't decide because Mitchell and Skillings specifically, because they're going to garner a little more interest on the market just due to their talent and coaches thinking they can get the most out of them. We've seen the St. John's rumors with Mitchell. Pitino's a really good coach. I don't know if people know that or not. I know Chuck knows that. But these guys are going to go to really good spots, and I think almost all this is mutual or role related. Like I feel like Reed and Rayvon's discussions were probably pretty similar, in my opinion. But we don't know, so we might find out here soon. We've got a ton of spots to fill. We have 2 big men on the roster, like you just said, and even worse, we have 3 players over 6'3". Here's 1. 6'7" freshman, Sean Abayev. Here's 2. 6'9" redshirt freshman, Tyler McKinley. He has not played yet. And 3, 6'10", Hal Vanzella. He can't speak English. So those are our big guys, or our tall guys on the roster. We've got a lot of work to do, but stay tuned to Chatterbox Bearcats, guys. We're going to be doing this for, 3 more weeks probably?
Look, Wes knows it's his swan song, Niehaus. This is it for him, and he has no time to fool around. He needed to change the identity because whatever brand, whatever culture he's built at Cincinnati, it did not work. He had classes to mold it together. Reed was a 3rd-year player last year. Skillings was a 3rd-year player. They had plenty of guys that had experience, multiple years of experience in this system, and he had to get out the TNT. And it sounds like Jizzle James will be a lone survivor, along with, I guess it's not lone, Day Thomas as well, and then McKinley. Those are the 3 guys from a season ago, only 2 of which played. And aside from that, it's going to look completely different. So Lily's comment about the Redcoats sitting down low, who the hell are these guys? It's coming true. Like it's Wes's ride or die year, and it's with a bunch of players that don't know a damn thing about Cincinnati basketball right now. We hope they do eventually.
Yeah, and credit to Wes Miller a little bit for doing what he had to do, and that is blow this thing up because I know there was some worry that he was going to run it back. So all of the takes that you see where everyone's like, what's going on? Like, why are we doing this? It's like, if you didn't know this was happening in February, then I don't know what you were thinking was going to happen next season. It is interesting where some of these guys are going to end up. I'm not sure. Obviously, we aren't in the room for these talks, so it's not 100% Tyler Betsy wants to leave. Maybe it's something along the lines of Wes showed him the door. We just simply don't know, but I'm curious where a guy like Betsy specifically as a freshman is going to end up, because it's not like he has a ton of tape. He shot 32% from three. He's supposed to be a sniper. Obviously, he's from Connecticut or that area, so UConn comes to mind. But it's not like Dillon Mitchell, who is probably going to have a slew of high major programs coming after him. All you got to do is show a coach his dunk compilation, and everybody's going to be slobbering at the mouth to get him, because he just simply didn't work out here. I don't think it's that he's a bad player. I think we've said it all year long. It was a roster construction. It's the fact that he had a 4 and a 5 that couldn't stretch the floor at all, and also 3 guards who really couldn't shoot either. So very intrigued on who is going to end up where.
Arrington Page is the one that's interesting to me, because he seems like a likely, half of these guys seem like they're going to stay in the same level. Half seem like they're going to dip. And Page seems like one of those guys that could dip. And with the right coach, with a fiery coach that really holds him accountable, playing at a lower level, I think he's one that could be, Lily's probably going to shake his head and just say he just doesn't have that feel for the game. And sometimes you got to, you either have it or you don't. He may not, but that dude has some talent. And if you get him some confidence at a lower level, send him up the way to Athens, send him over to Oxford, send him to one of those mid-American schools. Like, we could be hearing his name in a minute and being like, damn, that guy was good. He is young, but I just don't think we would have said that next year with him in the Big 12. Damn, that guy's good. And that's kind of the players that West needs right now. His job is officially on the line, and he knows it. I don't think he wants to go back to the SoCon.
Yeah, I think that those names you mentioned are perfect for Page. And I don't really disagree. Like, he needs the pressure of like being a starter, I think. Like, he needs to be playing more and getting those reps in. Big men they got to play. And you're not going to play if you don't get to your level first. And with his talent, he said in his post he's not going to transfer again, but if he went down in the MAC and blew up, I think he would pretty easily jump right back up to a power level, in my opinion. But yeah, there's too much on the line for us to just carry him into next year. We need a backup big man who has played at the power level or started at a smaller level that is produced. No more gambling. And
I think, Lily, what I'm getting at is I think that Page was probably paid a pretty good check just based off measurables, potential, and the fact that he was in Southern California, scored some points there, and was a highly rated recruit beforehand, right? Like, he's probably free up some money with him leaving, and probably Betsy too as a freshman that was ranked so high.
Yeah. I doubt they're like the cheap freshmen, This isn't like a 3-star swing player that you're trying to develop over 4 years. And Rayvon, his list just came out of interest, if anyone wants to hear it. We've got Oklahoma State on there, which is a little surprising, but past that, it makes sense. Wichita, Dayton, Rhode Island, UAB, Richmond, and then about 10 more schools that are lower than that. So that seems like Rayvon's level. He needs to go play too, in my opinion.
Houdini?
Yeah, and it just comes down to, he's a kid that was highly recruited. Arrington Page, I'm referring to, like a top 60 recruit, high 4-star. Is he going to mentally take that step down and say, hey, I'll play at Central Michigan? Because I'm not sure that that's there. And a lot of that has to do with the mentality of the kids, and that's no fault to him. I think he still thinks that he is able to contribute to a high major program. So I'd be shocked if he went down a level. I really do. And I think somebody would give him a shot, maybe not a high tier program, but somebody in the ACC, something like that. And he shows flashes. He's weird, man, because like he was like one of the only post players we had that actually had a legit post move. He had some good footwork. He just didn't have a high motor and made some pretty stupid plays. And like Lily said, we just can't afford to have that as our backup center. Now, it's going to be interesting to see who we get, because right now, like we said, we have, Zella and McKinley, who have combined, I think, like 12 total minutes in the Crown, which is obviously some of the highest level of basketball that you'll see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where some of these guys land. Baby Zion, no name mentioned it. Baby Zion leaving, it's tough. We'll never forget February Josh Reed. That was something special. But we just needed to upgrade across the board, dude. I mean, JJ Rembert leaving. I know Lily said pregame, let's not mention JJ Rembert. We got walk-ons fucking leaving? What are we doing? I thought those guys just stuck around for life. Maybe with the new NIL stuff, they're testing the waters. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting.
What is interesting to me is just going to be the development of the roster. I'm kind of looking at player by player, and that's unfortunately what we did last year, right? We're like, oh, we're replacing Sage Tolentino's scholarship with Arrington Page. Sign me up. Let's just bring in better players. So I don't want to look at it through that lens anymore. However, I'm going to look at it through that lens right now. You're bringing in, let's go with Kirk Ariza to replace, and I'm not even going to do it position-wise, but Kirk Ariza to replace Rayvon Griffith. We in favor of that, fellas? Fair? Okay. And then we go with, who's up next? We go with Sincere Harris, and we replace him with Josh Reed. Very fair. If we can just keep doing that, stacking together wins, I'll feel very good. The issue is it becomes the roster construction thing. Like last year, it felt like we were stacking together wins and upgrading the roster when in reality, we weren't upgrading it at all because the players that we brought in were not, good enough to play together at the end of the day. So, Niehaus?
This is where I'm excited about Corey Evans and the fact that we have a general manager role, because that's going to be his job, is to make sure that not only are we getting the right players, but the players that make the most sense. And we said it all along, like start of the Crown to now, is that there's not going to be a single player that I don't think any four of us would miss outside of, I know Chuck and Houdini love Dillon Mitchell. So I know you two, I don't know how you feel about Dillon Mitchell leaving. How are you feeling, Chuck, about Dillon Mitchell?
I'm feeling the same way with Dillon as I am Dan, and that's they're going to go somewhere else and they're going to be good. Some coach is going to get their hands on them and figure out how to utilize them. I promise. And I'm hoping it's not the same with Page. I don't think it is. I think he's just on a different level of raw right now. But Dillon Mitchell has shown that he could be a high-level basketball player. I think he's shown that over his career. And if he goes to St. John's with Pitino, we may be seeing that guy come next March if we're not there, on a 3-seed Red Storm team and being like, he's starting on St. John's. And we didn't want him here, but you did just have to look elsewhere. This thing just had to change.
I mean,
go ahead, Hudson.
Just real quick for Dillon Mitchell. Now, he certainly has his flaws. There's no doubt about it. He didn't really have a post-up game at all. I thought he was fantastic on the defensive end. I know Lily talks about some of the advanced analytics in conference. Wasn't as great, but elite out of conference. Still a very solid defender. Seemed to get his hand on a lot of balls in the passing lanes. We all saw the highlight dunks. But when we're talking about getting a proven guy that can play at this level, I think Dillon Mitchell is that. We're talking about a guy that averaged, end of the season, he averaged 10 points, led the team in rebounding with 7, shooting 62%, 61% from the field. Like, he clearly can be a contributor at a high-level program, and we're going to see that. And, we'll be able to figure that out this time next year if it worked out for him. But, again, depending on how much money he was getting, I don't hate the fact that we're going to take that money and go elsewhere. But you got to hit big, man. And some of the names that we're linked to, we'll see what happens. But you gotta get a better player than Dillon Mitchell in his place. And I thought he was solid. He wasn't great, but I thought he was solid.
He's definitely solid. He was an elite defender as well. But if there's anybody, if he ends up on St. John's, listen to this. If you're scouting St. John's, if you're losing by 2 or 3 in the final 2 minutes and Dillon Mitchell gets the ball, foul him. Just foul him. I don't care if there's 5 minutes left. He shot 39% from the free throw line. Absolute joke. That is unacceptable. And for the rest of the team, for a bad free throw shooting team, it was even more unacceptable because outside of the defense, he was serviceable for sure. But like you said, Hudson, frees up a lot of money. You got to hit big on a big.
Yeah, well, we got all enchanted by the high-flying Bearcats, the Duncan Cats. We talked about it early after the Georgia Tech game, 14 dunks. We're like, this is the best dunking team we've ever seen in our lives. We got Dan, we got Aziz, we got Dillon running around. And I think Wes kind of realized, it's not how you look in warm-ups. At the end of the day, you got to put the ball in the bucket. And Dillon Mitchell's one of those guys that you're paying a ton of money to for, yes, defense, for, yes, a little bit of scrap, but not toughness, if that makes sense. Like, did kind of the dirty work for UC, but wasn't the best at doing it to where you could probably get by with someone else that's paid a lot less money. But where I stand with Dillon Mitchell is just, and Lily, I know you're going to feel different about this one. It's that if money was not a factor here and it was just a scholarship thing, you don't want to lose Dillon Mitchell. Like if he's your sixth man, if he's your seventh man, you're going to be incredible. They relied on him to be more than that this year, and that was someone that could put the ball in the basket. They did not have a 5 that could put the ball in the basket, so it put pressure on the 4 to do so, and he just really couldn't do that. That wasn't his game. But I think if you sprinkled him in the right lineup with good guards and a good wing around him and a good big man to complement him, he could absolutely be that guy that, trails block shots and swats them away, that throws down in transition, that's just good in transition in general, and can, finish above the rim. So it hurts. I think that's the biggest one so far that kills you, but he was, averaging the same amount of points and rebounds at Texas a season ago, closer to his McDonald's All-American year. Like, I would have to imagine he was commanding a large paycheck. So you can replace him with a really talented player. Maybe it's just one that looks a little bit different than the high-flying, super, super talented Dillon Mitchell.
Yeah, and I do pick on Dillon a lot, like more than most people. But I think it's also important for me to recognize some things here, that it's not Dillon's fault that he was next to Aziz. That was a coaching decision, a recruiting decision. And it's not his fault that his backups weren't good either. Like, the 4 spot was just a disaster. CMOS wasn't good this year. Josh Reed came in at the end and had a couple good games. Betsy had a underwhelming season. And I don't think people were thinking that Betsy was going to save us or anything like that. But our bench was a serious problem this year. And I just think that everybody not performing just hurt everyone else, if that makes sense. And I just pick on Mitchell a lot because I personally think that spot on the roster is one of the easier ones to fix. I don't think we're going to go find some dynamic 5 who can shoot the 3 ball at a high level, and you could play Mitchell next to him, no problems at all. I think it's easier to flip Mitchell into something different, someone a little more physical. Maybe they could shoot the 3 ball a little better than him. Maybe they can't. But if they don't, they need to bring better rebounding, better blocking, and still some sort of lob threat. So, again, spread the money a little elsewhere, because we got to get a 5 in here. Oh, hell, we got to get how many? We got to get 2 5s, 2 4s. So, yeah, I want a new team. I want to see Wes coach new players. And I just think Dillon Mitchell moving on is one of the best ways to make sure that happens.
Yeah, no. Niehaus, your thoughts on the Bearcats potentially getting that? Actually, let's ask you this one, because Lily said there needs to be a lob threat there. I'm fine with never seeing the lob again. Yeah. I don't know about you guys. With Aziz and Mitchell going out, that's not a quality that I'm looking for. After watching, who was it? Drake make that little run in the tournament with just ball movement and a bunch of dudes that looked like they were from Hickory, Indiana. We don't need that above the rim lob threat that we thought we potentially needed. Let's make a tournament first, and then we can start talking about all the NBA prospects that are a little bit raw, right?
Yeah, and what we need is, I'm going to quote Mike Singletary here, is I want winners. I want guys who want to win. That is the number one thing I'm looking for in the portal if I'm Wes Miller, because I say it so much, but I truly feel like these guys didn't care about losing. I think they were okay with it. I think they got their paychecks. I'm not saying that they were just only there for a paycheck, but I think that obviously softened the blow of losing. But some of these guys, you look at Florida, you look at Elijah Martin, that guy would die on the court. And he's not even Florida's best player, but he's somebody that if Florida didn't have him, I don't know if they make it that far. And, Houston, name the player. I just want winners. I want winners. I don't care how it's done. I don't care if it's a lob threat. I don't care if the guy can stretch the floor. I just need somebody who literally would die for the name on the chest.
What do you guys think about the sequential order in which they entered the portal? From by their jersey number, from lowest to highest. Did you notice that? Did they really meet up and hey guys, we're going to blow people's minds here. we're going to start from the lowest jersey number to the highest. So what was that intentional? You think it has to be, right? That can't be accidental.
That's got to be how they were meeting, right? Like that's how the meetings went. Maybe.
Maybe you think you go by alphabetical order then if you're doing that? That seems interesting. I don't know. There's a conspiracy theory out there.
That is crazy though.
We'll see who's next. We'll see if anyone else is next or if they just ran through all the numbers. But at this point, I think that's it, right? We see anyone else entering?
Did CJ Anthony enter?
That's the one I'm like, why has he not? Like he redshirted so he could enter the portal. Like what's taking so wait, what number is he? Hold on, let's check this out.
I thought 11. He was 11. Yeah.
Oh, this is screwing everything. Maybe he's coming back.
Starting 3? He's the starting 3?
All right, starting lineup mock. Because who just asked
5 games with this lineup?
Gatto said in the chat, who's the starting lineup as of right now? Actually, we can change this because we do have a Bayev coming in. But a mock, Kirk Ariza, Jizzle James, Sincere Harris. Let's put Shauna Bayev in there playing the 4 somehow. And then McKinley, your 5. That's just by default. That's who is on the roster currently. It's going to look different than that. But, Kriza, you're starting point guard. Jizzle, you're starting 2. Harris, you're starting 3. Can you get behind that? I don't know, fellas. I'm not going in with any expectations. Last year just broke me in terms of that. I'm just going to see what happens. I'm not even going to say a bad word about Wes. He's flipping this thing over. He knows it's do or die time. Just get me to November, and we'll go from there. I'm not buying into any of the preseason hype. So for the guys that clipped us last year, you do a great job on the UC on the UC visuals. You're not going to get anything out of me aside from saying prove it. Prove it. I don't care who he brings in. Just prove that you could put a team together that wins basketball games. Otherwise, we're going to be having the same conversation the next year because no one's going to be staying regardless. Very, very interesting in today's day and age. You can go into year 5 with 3 or 4 returning players, and your fan base is probably more excited about it than the latter of everyone returning.
We got to give a shout out to Lily was actually tweeting about this on Bearcat Bunch. Rothstein doing his way too early rankings. This is he ranked us 33rd, which is just shocking. And this was his projected starting lineup, which clearly isn't the case anymore.
Stop the
Jizzle
count.
James, Kirk Ariza, Tyler Betsy, Dillon Mitchell, and Arrington Page. And he had us at 33. That's like making the tournament with that lineup. So shout out Rothstein. Maybe he's off his nitroglycerin pills or something, because that is the most outrageous take I've ever seen. If you're going to do the damn top 40 or whatever, you got to do some research or just save it for 2 months.
It makes me wonder if he's actually getting fed something through the ear when he does those videos saying like the entire path that a team had to the 1978 national championship. He's like, well, they started out with Drexel in Tulsa. Then they went to Knoxville for the Sweet 16 and took down, 3-seeded Kentucky. And he just knows all that. And yet he doesn't know that like Arrington Page was the biggest lock to be in the transfer portal of all time after the Crown. And he apparently thought Wes was running this thing back. He is not. That is a good thing that he's trying something new, but it is kind of sad that we've gotten to this point entering year 5. And basically what got John Brannon fired, along with a bunch of other things behind the scenes that we've all heard. One of the things that got him fired was the fact that every single person was like, I'm out. And in this situation, we're like, okay, see ya. Okay. Better luck at next place. Lily, final thoughts. Take us home.
I didn't see Mikey Saunders doing the with the option to return to Cincinnati portal, did we? Yeah. It is different though, but you see a lot of like fans consume that as like
and Saunders came back
burning down here, right? But no, we're just blowing it up. One last shot, guys. Like it was bad this year, but I don't think they all hated each other. So yeah, I mean,
they just didn't get the job done. I mean, Wes said it after the West Virginia game. He's like, look, or after the Kansas State game, he's like, I've never had a group that, isn't excited to be in March. It's March. Like that should internally drive you, and he gave all the right spiel from his end that basically indirectly pointed at the players somewhat and was just like, these guys aren't it. Don't fire me. These guys aren't it, but we'll be here next year. And he's bringing a new squad to see if, this thing's going to change or if it's going to be the same kit and caboodle. So we'll see. Final words, Houdini?
No, man, I'm just glad we're trying something different, and Corey Evans might have a lot to do with it. It at least you can get excited about next season. Obviously, we're not going to have the takes that we did, Niehaus and his dad included. We're going to hold those until we actually see this team play. So I'm just excited we're doing something. We're throwing something at the wall, see if it sticks. Crazier things have happened. New roster. Can't wait to see what we can pull in the portal. I think we're going to get surprised by a couple of guys that come out of left field, and I'm hoping so.
Yeah, watch UC just get like 2 NBA draft prospects that just commit, former all-conference guy in a big conference or something that just commits. There is money because they probably brought in Dillon Mitchell to be that, honorable mention, third-team all-conference guy this season, and he didn't live up to that expectation. So you would imagine that money can be allotted elsewhere. But again, completely nuanced. Niehaus, give me some good news on the way out the door.
Yeah, Chuck, you said that the UC media team won't be able to clip you. I know that they'll be able to clip me at some point, considering I thought I learned my lesson not getting too high on anybody, and I have already tried looking for Kirk Kreese at 77 jerseys. So I know I'm going to get ahead of my skis. I'm excited and thankful that these guys all hit the portal on the same day, saved us some tape. But I'm excited to do the shows that we have some entries for the roster. So intrigued to see where Wes Miller goes with hopefully a large budget. And because we had a few high budget guys leave. So just excited, Chuck.
April 22nd. He's got 2 weeks to try and pull some rabbits out of hats. And I do think we may get surprised with some of the high major talent that has produced elsewhere that comes in. I mean, this ain't no damn scrub program. We're, right in the middle of the pack in the Big 12 when it comes to money. And we just freed up pretty much all our money from a season ago, aside from what's going to Jizzle and Day-Day. So fellas, good stuff. The 4-man weave is a success. This is Chatterbox Bearcats, everyone.